to the Talkin Bout Podcast. I'm your host, TW. Listen, I know you got so many choices for your entertainment, so whoever you are and wherever you may be, thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day here with me. All right, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way real quick. The pod has been on hiatus. I took a break for the summer and the fall is back. We're back to, regularly scheduled things. I wanted to enjoy time with my kids, went on vacation, spent time with the wife, lots of good quality time. Fellas, please don't neglect the wife at home, you know what I'm saying? And now we back, baby. We back. I was looking for the right moment to hop back in with the wrestling pod, and I could not find a better time, a better opportunity to get back to it than today, because last night on Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso won the Intercontinental Championship. Give it up for Jey Uso! Listen, this was a dope, great moment in Monday Night Raw history. Jey Uso has waited a long time for this moment. I believe they said he's been in WWE for 14 years. 14 years, and he's winning his first singles title. Now, he's been a part of the greatest tag team in WWE history, the Usos. And I don't say that lightly, right? Like, the amount of times the Usos have been the WWE Tag Team Champions, which you could argue is not as impressive because WWE doesn't emphasize tag team wrestling like that. But the fact that they have been an act that the company has kept together and relied on to be a staple of the tag team division for so many years, that says something. That says a lot. They were part of the team, along with the New Day, to have the first tag team Hell in a Cell. They are the first tag team in probably 20 years to main event a WrestleMania when they defended the WWE Tag Team Championships against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 39. The Usos have a great argument of being the greatest tag team in WWE history. So Jey Uso was a huge part of that. And Jey Uso really came to prominence during the quarantine when he was the right-hand man to Roman Reigns in the Bloodline story. Now, that Bloodline story felt like it was supposed to be Jey's. That story felt like it was supposed to tell the story of Jey Uso breaking out of the shadow of Roman Reigns, breaking out of the shadow of his family, and becoming his own man, his own character, and eventually taking over as the head of the Bloodline. That's what that story felt like it should have led to. Now, WWE went a different direction with it, but seeing Jey in the subservient role to Roman Reigns for all that time, being the person who brought Roman and Jimmy back together when they were beefing after Jimmy came back from his injury, being the person who was so resistant to letting Sami Zayn in, and then being the person to put his neck out for Sami Zayn when the Bloodline was starting to turn on Sami Zayn, and then being the person to react first and take the brunt of the heat when Sami Zayn ultimately turned on Roman Reigns, justifiably so. But Jey seemed to be at the center of all of that. And this all felt like it was leading to, the whole Bloodline, the Usos and Roman Reigns, losing their titles at WrestleMania 39, then the Bloodline Civil War, and then eventually that SummerSlam match we got should have been no title. It should have been Jey versus Roman for the Ula Fala and the control of the Bloodline going forward. But again, they decided to do something different, and we ended up here where we are. And once Jey became his own star on Raw without the Bloodline, it was clear he was over right away. The crowd was into him. One thing that Jey Uso has always brought to the table is this amazing energy. It just pops off the screen. It just comes through the screen. Even when he was a member of the Bloodline and you had 5 people coming out at once, when Jey came out, the energy just shot through the television. He'd be clapping the belts together as they walk down the aisle, and the energy just always seemed to be radiating off of him, right? Roman was the centerpiece, but Jey was the live wire, the firecracker, the person who really was gonna be there when it jumped off, right? Jey Uso was always a key piece of that bloodline story. So when he came to Monday Night Raw, the fans were behind him, and they've been behind him the whole time he's been there. And I don't think WWE was quite ready for him to be so over so fast. And the reason why I say that is because if they had thought Jey was going to be as over as he was when he came to Monday Night Raw, I think they would have made plans to put some titles on him way sooner. But they didn't. And not only did they not put any titles on Jey Uso, they had him lose these big main events repeatedly. So you had main event Jey Uso constantly losing in the main event, and that wasn't a good look for anybody. That wasn't a good look for WWE. That wasn't a good look for Jey Uso. So when we got to this match against Bron Breakker on Monday Night Raw, the fans were ready. If you looked in the crowd, they had tons of shots of people with the yeet signs and the yeet glasses. People showed up to that arena to see Jey Uso win the WWE Intercontinental Championship, and it was awesome. It's okay to give fans what they show up for sometimes, okay? You don't always gotta swerve the people and lead to the next thing. Give fans what they want sometimes. And this was one of those examples where it was the absolute perfect time to give fans exactly what they wanted, exactly what they showed up for. Now, a couple of things really stood out to me during that match. For one, like I said, the crowd came to see Jey win. That tells me Jey Uso is a draw, okay? You guys love to talk about who's a draw and who isn't a draw, and you don't usually have anything to back that up. But the yeet dance, the yelling yeet, the hand gestures, the merch, all of it, right? Jey came out, originally he had the yeet shirt, right? Then there was the white yeet shirt. Then there was the blue shades. Then there was the blue shades that say yeet on them. Then they got the pink shades. They would not keep making all this merch for Jey Uso if it wasn't moving. And that's how you know he's over. People are chanting for him. They're cheering for him. They're buying his merch. The company keeps making more and more and more merch because people are buying it. So the fans showed up to see Jey Uso win, and it was awesome. They were behind him throughout every step of that match. When they would go back and forth, every time Jey would punch, the crowd would say yeet. When Bron would punch, they would say woo. And again, that brings me to my next point. Both of these guys were super over. I cannot remember the last time we saw two people in the mid-card fighting for the Intercontinental Championship that were that over. And I mean legitimately over, right? I'm not just talking about the crowd cheers for them a little bit. Everybody looks at Bron Breakker and they can see he has it. He has the charisma. He is an exciting in-ring performer. He looks like $1 million. He's got the, second generation storyline if they want to lean on that. He's everything WWE has always marketed. And Bron Breakker is going to be just fine. Bron's not going to be hurt by this at all. Bron losing this title, he's going to challenge back for it in a rematch, and they could turn around and put the title back on Bron, but I don't think he needs it. You can set Bron onto a path where he can challenge for a rematch for the Intercontinental title, lose, move on about his business, and he can just go on a run of destruction. I would not have a problem with Bron Breakker being in the world title scene within the next year. Eventually, CM Punk is going to get that World Heavyweight Championship. He'll probably have it by WrestleMania at the latest. And who better to take that title off of CM Punk and truly usher in a new generation than Bron Breakker? I think that could be the path that Bron is set on going forward from here. And I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. Again, people love Bron Breakker for so many reasons. People look at him and see it. Bron Breakker has it. But for now, this IC title reign is Jey Uso's, and the crowd is still with him. They love him. They yeet. They do the yeet dance. They change Jey Uso's entrance right now. Everybody puts up their phones for the lights, and the crowd and the arena drops the lights, and it's clear Jey Uso is a big deal to the fans. It's also clear that WWE doesn't quite see him as a main eventer. They only see him at a certain level, which I think is kind of trash, right? Because we just talked about he's a draw. The crowd is with him. They care whether or not he wins or loses. Everybody loves a come-up story, right? The fact that he's been in WWE for 14 years, even though he has had success in other ways, but to get his first singles championship after being in tag teams and then being the right-hand man and really come up, people love that because that's a real person's ambition, right? Like, we go through our lives and we want to achieve certain goals, and unless you have a leg up or a hand up or an intro into the career you want to getting fast tracked, then you really got to work your way up, right? And you're going to have your setbacks, and you're going to have your people who don't like you and don't want to see you succeed. But the belief of the average working person is, if I keep plying my craft, I show up every day, I work, I take care of my body, I do the things I'm supposed to do, eventually I will succeed. That's what people see in Jey Uso, just like they saw that in Kofi Kingston back in 2019. People love a story like this. They need to stay on this story, stay on this path, and ride it all the way to the bank, because Jey Uso, he's a vibe. He's a vibe. The people love him. The people rock with him. The people ride with him. You know, again, I'm sure the numbers back it up. They wouldn't keep putting out the merch if it wasn't selling. All right. So this was a great moment for WWE, and I think it's a great moment going forward, because I think the people are going to continue to stay with Jey Uso, and they can let him keep that Intercontinental title as long as they want to. Everybody thinks he's going to eventually end up back with Roman Reigns as they try to battle the Wish bloodline at Survivor Series, and that's fine. He can do that, but he can do that as the Intercontinental Champion, right? Like, Jey doesn't have to completely abandon this singles career that he's built for himself, this brand of his own that he's built for himself, just to get back to being Roman Reigns' sidekick. So I think there's a lot more ahead for Jey Uso. Jey Uso's dope. He completely earned this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Yeet. All right. Thank you guys for checking out the pod. I'm going to be back at you next time. Something pops in my brain, so stay tuned to your YouTube feeds. Stay tuned to your podcast feed. Please like, rate, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. Until next time, I'm TW. Peace out.